Everything out of me. They gonna get a Super Bowl out of me. Believe that. Believe that. I'm a Raven. It's on. All year. Every year.
Hey everybody, welcome in again. This is Jordan coming at you with our Game 3 watch list for positions and position battles. This is going to be the last preseason game that the Ravens play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Saturday at 7 o'clock. So this is the last preseason game before the regular season starts on September 10th against the Houston Texans in Baltimore. And I just have a few questions, few things that I want to take a look at, and a few notes about some of these position battles that I'm looking to see if one or a few or nobody claims some of these roster spots. The final 53 cutdown is going to be on Tuesday of next week, so not a lot of more opportunities for these guys to prove that they belong on the 53. A lot of locks on this Ravens team, more so than I think I remember in recent memory. So let's get into some of these positions, starting with the offense. So the QB battle, we're not going to see Huntley. He's still dealing with that hamstring, so I think they want to be careful with him. So it's looking like it's going to be Josh Johnson and Anthony Brown again, which is fine because I want to know if Johnson can continue to keep raising his stock and solidify the number 3 spot. And I want to know if Brown can show any improvement. You know, he did from game 1 to game 2. And, you know, we'll see if he can from 2 to 3. The real question, though, is do either really actually make this team? Because I think having 3 quarterbacks on this team, given some of the other depth concerns, might be a little bit of a luxury at this point. And I'm pretty sure you can get either of them, or at least one of them, onto the practice squad. So, something to consider. Next up, the running backs. So this is kind of the same thing as with the quarterback 3 battle, because this is a running back 4 battle between Keaton Mitchell and Melvin Gordon. And while I would prefer to keep Keaton Mitchell over Gordon, I think, as I stated earlier, I think Melvin Gordon has a better chance of making it onto the practice squad. Keaton Mitchell, I have a feeling he'll get claimed off of waivers, but I saw a good point brought up the other day that was basically like a lot of teams have these young running backs that they're scared to let go onto the practice squad, and then a lot of them don't get claimed. So we do have 3 really good running backs, and Melvin Gordon has actually surprised me. He's held on to the ball so far. You know, maybe that's what we need is Melvin Gordon on the practice squad. If we can get Keaton Mitchell there, great, but we'll see. All right, next up, wide receivers. Basically, this is Tylan Wallace and everybody else. So if anyone else can come and take that spot, you know, it would be pretty difficult. Not only because Wallace has actually been playing pretty well, and obviously he's had a touchdown in each of the games. Not much other production outside of that, but he obviously does have the special teams aspect of his play to consider. But the reason I say that it'd be pretty difficult to take the spot from Wallace is because even if somebody does have a splash in the pan type of game, you know, except for maybe, I don't know, Sean Ryan or something, there's no real level of consistency. And I think the Ravens are big on you know, seeing guys day in and day out kind of produce the same level or slowly increase their capabilities. And if a guy just goes out there and, you know, balls out for a whole game, but it's on, you know, not very impressive coverage, or it's just, again, that one game. I know Shamar Bridges last year had a game that he had a pretty, you know, he kind of went off, and then he didn't do anything after that. And I think the Ravens might be a little nervous that would happen again. Next up, left guard. So I'm pretty sure John Simpson's in control of this position, which is fine. You know, I think based upon the snap counts that we saw from the last couple of games and just some of the rookie mistakes, which makes sense that Big Salah made. But again, I mean, having Big Salah on his contract as a backup is great. I mean, he can have an entire year to learn. He can fill in if there's any issues. So I think it's a really good position to be in for both of them. All right, tight ends. I mean, Travis Vokolek, I don't know. I've heard some people saying that, it's him versus Charlie Kolar, and I don't think so. Not with the draft capital you spent on Kolar, and not with his upside. Not saying Travis Vokolek doesn't have upside. He has massive upside. I don't know if you'll be able to get him onto the practice squad. But, I mean, what else are you going to do? Like I said, if you're not going to keep 3 quarterbacks, and you're not going to keep 4 running backs, you're not going to keep 4 tight ends. I mean, realistically, Kolar and Likely in this offense, you mean, yeah, I do want to see them on the field, but with the stable of running backs that we have and the stable of wide receivers and the whole only one ball to go around type of mentality, having 4 tight ends doesn't make a lot of sense to me. All right, so before we get to the defense, I posed the question on the thumbnail, does Lamar play? And I want to kind of ask you guys, do you think Lamar plays? Because obviously there was an interview recently with John Harbaugh where he was asked if Lamar plays, and he basically said, well, if you ask Lamar, he wants to play. And then he said, I'll leave it at that, which to me kind of sounds like, of course the athlete wants to play. I mean, he literally loves to play football, so why wouldn't he want to? But I also kind of read that as John saying, I'm the dad, and I will tell you when you play, which, given the fact that they did make him one of the richest quarterbacks in NFL history, I really don't think... I think John has kind of learned his lesson with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and Marcus Peters, and I mean, you can go through the list of all them, but I don't think they let him play. He can warm up against the Texans, but yeah, I don't think Lamar plays. Hey guys, real quick, if you're enjoying the video so far, go ahead and give it a like. And if you want more, you can head over to my channel and hit that subscribe button while you're there. Also, if you know anyone who is a Ravens fan that might enjoy this video, please share it with them. Alright, let's get back to the video. So the defense, starting with the defensive line, I mean, I'm kind of looking at this as Angelo Blackson versus Rashad Nichols. And again, do either one of them make the team? I mean, I feel like this is a group that is fairly deep. And even our depth piece, I mean, Travis Jones is not a starter for us, and that's a pretty good position to be in for the defensive line. So I want to see what they can do. I know Nichols he's played pretty well. I think he had that forced fumble in the last game, which was good to see, yanking on the arm. But yeah, can't say that I've seen Blackson's name brought up too much, but who knows? They might be practice squad guys. All right, outside linebacker. So Moon, Ham, and Sanders. I've seen good things from all 3 of them, especially Malik Ham. But I don't know if the Clowney signing keeps them off of the 53 roster. I mean, if one of them proves too good to risk going to the practice squad, that might be something to consider. But you got to figure Clowney can play inside or outside, but he typically plays more outside. So I don't really know what position that puts Moon, Ham, and Sanders in. All right, inside linebacker, Phillips, Ross, and Welch. Sort of the same thing. I mean, I think we keep one of these guys, as opposed to the outside linebacker group. I think the inside linebacker group, I do think we keep at least one of these guys, and Phillips seems to have the edge. But, I mean, last year I thought Ross had the edge before the injury, of course, and they ended up keeping Welch. So I know he's, a special teams guy, and he assisted in that strip set, or the forced fumble in the first game against the Eagles. So, but I just think Phillips has done too much to be overshadowed by the other 2 right now. All right, last 2, cornerback. We've got, I don't know. There's pros and cons to each of these guys. Millett's been injured, but he does have a lot of experience. I know they kind of brought him in sort of mostly as a slot kind of guy. But I genuinely think Ardarius Washington has kind of earned that spot. I know I'm not the only person to say that, but he's just played so well, and he's played, again, so consistently. He's stayed healthy. He's, an animal in getting after the ball. He's not scared of anybody. Like, I love him in that spot. So I don't know what that does to Millett's chances. Hayes, he's inconsistent, but he's promising. He has messed up a little bit on coverages, but then at the same time, he does have also that tenacity, which I like to see in my cornerbacks, and sticking with plays and whatever else. And then Lucian, I don't really have much on him. I don't really see him in the game too much. He doesn't really pop off the screen to me at all. I know he led the team in tackles last week, but other than that, I really can't see a reason to keep him over the other two if they keep the other two at all. And then the last one, safety. This might be a little controversial, but I mean, in my 53, I don't know if either of these guys make it, really. I mean, I'd love to. I mean, Worley's a great player. He really is. And Houston Carson brings experience. But I don't know. I feel like, not that keeping more cornerbacks or safeties is a luxury for this team, given our injury history, but at this point, I kind of feel like it might be. I just don't know if any of these guys is a lock. I mean, again, if Worley goes out there and makes, a couple phenomenal plays, that's going to make it interesting for the coaches. But other than that, I think a lot of these guys are going to have a really tough time grabbing up what I think of as probably only like 3 or 4 spots on the team. So, I don't know. Should be an interesting game. It'll be interesting to see who the Buccaneers put out there, whether it's first team, second team. Do they play for a half? Do they play for a series? Do they not play at all? So it'll be good to see what kind of level of competition these guys are going to be going up against. But yeah, looking forward to the final preseason game. And, hopefully we can get that win streak started up again. Nah, just kidding. I don't really care about that. All right, well, if you've made it this far into the video, please go ahead, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you after the game for the winners and losers. Thanks. Bye.